Okay, good afternoon or good evening, Avla, Subham, and all. Audible visual? Am I audible visual?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry guys, we get delayed. By 6 minutes, I joined this session through another link that was not right link. Okay,
Sir, this is the first class.
sorry.
Sir, this is the first class or not?
It is not first class. Yes, you can consider a refresh. There is no problem regarding that because it is my first session regarding importance of answer writing, and I will do comprehensive analysis regarding importance of answer writing. All right. Any other query? So should we proceed? Is everything okay? Ablash, Shubham. All right. So here in the first slide, I have highlighted the importance of answer writing. My hope, voice, visibility is quite okay. Okay. If there is any concern regarding voice interruption or anything, just please inform me. Okay. So here I am just going to start by today's session with respect to highlighting the importance of answers writing. Answer writing, or especially your mains exam, consist maximum weightage, or it is you can consider each and everything. Your interview carry only 275 marks, which leave very narrow, minor scope for you to improve your ranking or to achieve very high rank. So here, importance of answer writing, or especially good answer writing, how we can achieve the target of good answer writing. Okay. It is one of the best tool how you can become an IS officer, IFS, IPS officer. Okay, how you can uh, achieve your goals. So, with respect to UPSC examination, there are total 2025 marks, out of which 1750 marks carried by mains answers, your mains exam, including optional. Okay, and the rest 275 marks carried by your interview. If you have secured maximum mark within the mains answer or mains exam, then you don't need to worry what will be the scope. If you have lost anyhow or unable to perform to your maximum potential, maximum capacity, in such condition, you can, further try, put more and more effort to maximize your score within your interview. Okay. Otherwise, in UPSC, each and every stage is up to certain extent equally important. But your prelims examination does not include within the your ranking or a scorecard. Okay, it is just qualifying in nature. So prelims exam is important only for qualifying it, writing the mains answer. And it is most important stage where you can beat maximum student. You have very large scope. So large scope can be achieved by writing the answer. How you can write the answer so that the person, the student sitting in front of you or behind you, you can score better, more mark in comparison to them. Okay. For an examiner, You are not a candidate, you are not a civil servant, you are nothing but just equivalent to an answer copy. Examiner evaluate you based on what you are writing, how you are writing, your content and your presentation within the 3 hours that you have put within your answer copy. So your goal, your effort, your energy, time, each and everything put within the 3 hours that you write within the copy, okay, of UPSC. Mainly answer copy is basic difference between a selected or a rejected candidate. Sometimes very serious student who narrowly missed to achieve high rank or to qualify this examination, they generally fail, especially to write good answers. To write good answer. I will include some examples. I will also discuss comprehensively on what aspect you need to focus. Okay, how you can interpret the question in maximum possible feasible way, and how you can divide it a question, especially the large question, into the different segments, and what are the meaning, what are the explanation, elaboration of talented words or directive words that we use, or an examiner or especially the professor who develop a question paper generally use sometimes these talented or the directive words deliberately, and sometimes just for having alternative word or making the look of question paper little bit more attractive, impressive, or little bit enrichment with respect to question paper. So first, your answer writing started. Your answer writing started especially from the very beginning of understanding the question. Proper understanding the question. And proper understanding of the question depend on your preparation. Depend on your actual practice that you have put effort during your mains answer writing practice. Okay. Plus, how many times you are focusing over the question frequently while writing the answer, or keeping the question, especially the keyword mentioned in the question, or the theme of the question, central theme of the question in your mind while writing the answer. So read the question at least twice, or I will suggest you thrice quickly, twice in the beginning and maybe one or two times more after writing, let's suppose one third, each and every one third part of your answer, so that you will not deviate. Sometimes in the philo, we skip what was the exact demand of the question, and we started blindly associated any content, any information that we have in our mind with respect to the question, with respect to the keywords of the question, what was the context of the question, what was the exact demand of the question. Sometimes we ignore, and in the flow, in the pressure of saving the time, or due to pressure, okay, of finishing as soon as feasible, because it become very hard, especially with those answers where either you don't have sufficient content data in your mind, or with those answers or question for which you have lot of information. So writing within 150 words or 250 words a mains answer become a challenging task, okay, at that time. So generally, what frequent mistake, what kind of mistake a student do while writing the mains answer? Okay. Sometimes they hurriedly study the questions, and once they start writing, then they forget the exact demand of the question and they get deviated. Huge deviation sometimes. And sometimes they just try to write whatever they have in their mind associated with the topic. Suppose if there is any question related to Battle of Buxar or anything, what was the theme does not matter for some of the student, but whatever they have information related to this battle, they can put within the answer. So that will lead to very, very poor marking. Examiner evaluate you that you exactly don't have correct information in your mind associated with the question, or you are unable to understand the demand of the question, and you are just filling the page, you are just putting the garbage or extra information within the mains answer writing. Okay, sometimes this led to huge deviation of the answers from the exact demand of the question, and I have put this question, and this question I took from 2021 mains paper number 3. Okay, irrelevant or unnecessary information or the data. Irrelevant, unnecessary information or the data, we generally should restrict ourselves as much as possible. Write less, but be precise. Although length also matter, keep a balance is best. But when you don't have correct information, then stop yourself writing unnecessary information. Or whatever basic information you have in your mind, try to link, try to attach it, connect it with the exact demand of the question. Extra information causes negative impact. Generally, it might be possible by reading 1, 2 answers. An examiner, evaluator can have certain idea, image, your personality comes in front of an examiner, and technically, truly, based on my experience and based on with the conversation I have with some of the professors, some of the evaluators. Okay, answer evaluation, answer checking is one of the toughest, one of the, you can say, non-liked or extra exercise, or you can say very irrelevant, less interested exercise for an examiner. So rather than examiner read, understand your answer, a student need to put such effort, need to put such content, need to present himself in that way that examiner force himself to study your answer. So rather than particular examiner, evaluator, it depend on the student, how student have written his answer, whether student able to force the examiner, that examiner is going to study again and again most of the answers. Otherwise, sometimes 1, 2, 3 answers rapidly examiner read, and after that, you know, based on the perception that he has created in his mind, he started to give general marking. General marking. And this time, suppose that at present, UPSC made it mandatory. Now at present, UPSC made it mandatory. You need to write answers in orderly manner from 1 to 20. Okay, in case of mains. But earlier, what used to happen that student have freedom. The question were not mentioned, written over the copy. Rather, student write their answer. Rather, student write their answer based on the best question they know about particular question. Then they started their answers in the copy. First, the best answer, then gradually towards the last, the worst answer. Means in which question, they don't have any kind of the information or very poor information, then they keep such questions to a later side. And in the front, just like we do within the 10th, within the 12th, and within sometimes graduation as well, because students are not bounded to follow the orderly manner as mentioned within the question paper. But it is, UPSC has fixed the space as well as question over the booklet, answer booklet, so you don't have any kind of the scope either to write less, write more, or to change the order. You can say that you can rapidly attempt those questions in which you have more confidence in the beginning, and gradually later on you need to attempt other question. But finally, you cannot change the order. So earlier, what used to do, I talk little bit of few examiner. Generally, they read one or two of your best answers. Suppose that your best answer fetching 6 marks maximum out of 10 marks. Then they started to gradually reduce this marks towards the end. They start from giving you 6 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 15. Then gradually they started towards last around 2 or 1.5 out of 10. Okay, so writing the answer, keeping the content as per demand of the question, and making it a lively presentation, attractive presentation, not very attractive, not very decorative, but in well defined manner as expected from a civil servant, as expected from a civil servant. Okay, so extra information cause negative impact, only precise information, only the precise, maximum precise as much as possible. Now, try to look over this question. The Nobel Prize in the Physics of 2024, the Nobel Prize in the Physics of 2024 was jointly awarded to Akasaki and Amano and Nakamura for inventing blue LED. For inventing blue LEDs during 1990s, they invented blue LEDs and they received award in 2014. So this is just an information. Now main question is here. How has this invention impacted everyday life of human being? Everyday life of human being. And we can also change this question for our own understanding, for better or easy understanding. We can say that the exact questions demand, the exact question demand, or what exactly question is telling, how blue LEDs, how blue LEDs impacted everyday life of human being. I know that when they received the award in 2014, then you rarely focus over such event if you are writing the mains answer in 2021. But you know what are the use of the LEDs. And most of the student, almost 99% student who are writing mains, they have at least certain basic knowledge. At least we can consider them well-aware person about the UPSC. If candidate qualified the prelims, we can consider them well-aware candidate about the UPSC, about the civil servant, government of India or international, etc. Okay, so we can consider all students know what are the LEDs. You also know what are the LEDs, how we are using. And most of the student, more than 90% of the student wrote this answer not based on highlighting the use of blue LED, rather they write this answer in this manner, how LED impacted everyday life of the human being. They write it just like we are using huge LED. Nowadays, it has completely changed the digital infrastructure. It has replaced the traditional bulb that we utilize. LEDs further led to a scope of, LED further led to a scope of utilization in different kind of the variation, in different size, in different way, rather than traditional lamp, traditional bulb. Okay, and LED are more energy efficient, and LEDs are better than other erstwhile existed electricity or light equipment. So in that way, on holistic way, they wrote this answer. Such person might receive out of 10 maybe around 2.5 marks, that you are just beating around the bush and you are just you know converted, change the exact demand of the question from blue LED, you have shifted towards the use of LED, general LED. So any query so far? Anybody? Avlas, Pavan Kumar, Subham, and all. From your side, any query? Otherwise, I will discuss ahead. Okay, all right. I hope clear to everyone. So far, whatever I discuss, it is quite understandable, easy to digest each and everything. If there is any concerns regarding any question regarding mains answer writing, okay, so most welcome for it. I am here only for dowsing all such doubts. So, demand of the question, how blue LED impacted everyday life of the human being. Before 1990s, around 1940s or 50s, around 1940s or 50s, different scientists, innovator, invented red LED. They invented green LED. But till 1990s, there was no foundation invention of blue LED. And this blue LED invented in 1990s. You have noticed till very recent time period, we noticed, suppose that before a decade, generally we noticed only the green or the rare LEDs, only very limited size, limited variation, limited scope. So for developing a white LED, for developing a white LED, you need blue LED, red LED, green LED. without blue LED, without combination of all these three LEDs, the possibility, the feasibility of white LED was not possible. Okay, so innovation, development of this blue LED, explode, opened the Pandora box for different kind of the LEDs market. Now, white LED bring a kind of revolution in the world. Even such kind of electronic gadgets, whiteboard, digital board generally, television, wearable device, okay, LEDs, anything means CFL, each and everything. In that way, we are using these LEDs in a state of erstwhile existing very traditional, big, high consumable, energy consumable, as well as with short lifespan devices. Okay. So in that way, if you will write, if you will put such a statement, then examiner will understand that you know the importance of the blue LED. Further, you can elaborate, you can expand, you can little bit highlight it, a few features about the blue LED, and you can utilize, you can towards and highlighted some of the initiative of government of India as well, just like Ujjwala Yojana, okay, distribution of LEDs in each and every home, affordable as well as accessible, so that universal electrification program can become possible in India. Okay, so rather than writing a journalistic answer, you need to write a particular answer, you need to write a specific answer as per demand of the question exactly. If you are able to succeed it, then you can receive maybe around 7.5, or at least 6.5 marks out of 10, at least within the mains. And that create a huge difference between a person who is generally seeking only 2.5 marks and a student who is seeking or receiving 6.5, 6, 7 marks out of 10 marks. It created a gulf, huge divided between those students who know the exact demand of the question, who write precisely, and those students who are just, fulfilling the copy. In graduation, what we do, generally we fill each and every page. One page we consider that if 40 page, this is total booklet, answer booklet. If we will fill the all 40 page by just repeating the question, repeating the some information associated with the question, so at least we get 40-45 marks, and that is quite enough to pass this graduation, to receive graduation degree. Okay, so this will not happen within the UPSC. In UPSC, there is a huge competition, and those person who force the examiner to read, those students who put challenge in front of the examiner that you cannot escape what we are writing, what we are presenting. Okay, those students really get very good marks. Precise writing, write as per demand of the question, write as much as point as you can, only within the within the limited words. Must write all necessary information, must write all necessary point, but leave unnecessary point. Please leave, avoid unnecessary point. Rather than impressing, it will create negative image. It will somewhere, create the negative image, and finally you will receive the poor mark. Now further, how to measure ratio and proportion? How to measure the ratio and proportion? What is it? Especially in those questions, which question consist more than one question, or you can say different sub question. A lengthy one question consists different fragments, different sets. Okay. In such condition, we need to maintain ratio and proportion. Suppose that if I ask you that you are a very passionate person about the gym, bodybuilding. Now you build your chest, you build your bicep, but you left your thigh, you left your shoulder, you left other kind of exercise, back, etc. Then will your body, your appearance will be attractive? Will it create proper enough attention in the mind of audience or the person who are seeing you, looking you? In the similar manner, we can also say that if we write on particular point, on particular subsection of the question, suppose that 100, 125 words, and other section which has generally equal length in the question, we write only 10, 20 words. So it will create impression just like a disabled, physically challenged answer, or physically challenged or disabled answer. Okay. So to avoid such disabled structure, to avoid such disabled, physically challenged appearance of your answer, you need to maintain equal ratio and proportion. Equal ratio and proportion, or as much as possible after reading your question. Okay. Do not write one section very long and other section very short. Do not leave any section unnoticed, ignored. Suppose that there are 2, 3 sections, 2, 3 sub question within a question. You write very excellently on 2 portions, but you completely ignore one part. Still, you will not receive best marks. It is the only difference between the toppers and the losers, that they does not sufficient care about ratio and proportion. Although you need not to take it very, very seriously, you can little bit ignore it, but do not completely ignore it. Whether you can follow it or not to follow it, but you cannot ignore it. You can maintain, suppose that 60% weightage to first section, 40% weightage to next section, subsection. You can still vary 65, maybe around 35. You can do vice versa as well. Means first portion around 30 to 40%, second portion about 50 to 60%, etc. But do not write an answer just like 10% of length of your answer on one section and 90% on other section. My here discussion or point of view or elaboration is just this. Generally keep the ratio and proportion in right balance. In multiple topics question, please do care about ratio and proportion of the topic in your answer. As it is given in the question, a smallest part of the question should not be written as lengthiest. Not cover the maximum part of your answer. Now, here you can look, it is again 2021 question. I selected a few question only from 2021 mains answer. Can I know about you guys what you are doing? Have you recently started your preparation, or you have completed some of the subject, or you are following some mains answer writing, or you have joined for mains test series, etc. Or you are, attempting at least 2, 3 answer within a week at your home and getting it evaluated from your seniors, from the faculty members, from coaching institute, etc., whatever it is. Can I know about it? Shubham, don't worry. We will discuss each and everything. We will do comprehensive discussion about the introduction. We will do comprehensive discussion within the body, conclusion, etc. What we can write, what we cannot write, what we should do, what we should not do. Okay. Ahead, let me discuss about what are the important aspects of answer writing. So don't worry, we will cover all of them. All right, Subham. Can civil society and non-governmental organization present an alternative model to the public service delivery to benefit common citizen? That is first section. Second one, discuss the challenges of this alternative model. That is second section. Now here, if you compare, the length of first section is around 60 to 70%. Length of second section within the question is around 40 to 30%. So we cannot alternatively write it first one as 20%, second one as 80%. So it will be very physically disabled kind of the structure. Here, can civil society, non-government organization present an alternative model for the public delivery benefit? So Subham, here within the introduction, you can give the definition of civil society, especially those organizations which are not associated with the government or any other business which work as an independent. Maybe कुछ example like health club, trade union, okay, a sport club, etc., etc. Means in any way, civil society, NGO. You can give the definition of NGO here, non-governmental organization. Organization especially targeted the poor section of society, not associated with the government or not receiving public tax, but working for the welfare or development of the society. One way for starting your introduction means both civil society and the NGO you can mix together. So for introduction, definition, most of the time, definition of key term, whatever central topic is mentioned within the question, then its definition become very important. Or if you started your introduction with the definition, it's okay. Widely accepted and most of the students do it. If you don't want to start with the definition, then you can start with certain facts. You can start certain kind of data. Suppose that recently in the news, anything with respect to civil society or NGO highlighted that government of India restricted and during last decade more than 20% of the NGO declared by government of India as non-functional. So you can also start it in that way, and that will also, make it attractive way. That you are highlighting very recent incident related to the importance of the NGO. in providing civil services, or here it is indicating misuse of the power, misuse of the fund, deviation of the fund, or blocking government program actions by these NGOs. So while reading the newspaper, while reading the information on each and every topic, you need to prepare certain ready template. You need to write one or two statement, or maybe a few statement, maybe one page information on each and every topic. Whenever any question arises, immediately put good data, good definition, or any statement of maybe belonging to very high personality organization, etc. In that way you can start. Okay, providing facts, providing data, providing definition, providing information associated with widely accepted within the introduction. And introduction should not be very long. Maybe 2 to 4 lines are quite enough. 2 to 4 lines are quite enough within your introduction. Then from body, especially, you need to give proper attention. Here, you can read, you can write two subheadings, and that will be very suitable. One subheading should address your first part of the question, and second subheading must address second part of the question. Then you will perfectly justify with the answer writing. Here, first subheading can be alternative use of civil society and non-government organization in delivering public services. Just underline it and write few points. You can write few points or you can write paragraph. Does not matter. It depend on individual's choice. Plus, it depend on individual's answer writing strategy, skill, convenience, etc. Some of the question might suits very excellently for the points. Here, this question well suits for the point format writing. Within two subheading, you need to write at least 5 points, 10 points, 10 mark question. Okay, enough. Little bit further, you can draw some flowchart, Venn diagram associated with particular NGO, particular civil society handling. You can associate such information data just like making the flow chart, and highlight that during COVID time provided food services by this NGO, name the NGO in such region. So excellently, it will work excellently. Second heading, subheading, you can mention that discuss the challenges. So second heading, you can mention challenges for government regarding utilization of civil society, NGO in public services. Challenges for using NGOs, civil society in public work, public services. इतना भी sufficient रहेगा. Okay, after that you can conclude suitably. You can conclude, you can give your way forward. Here, there is a scope of the solution. You should need to highlight it. There should be proper mechanism regarding monitoring, regulating the functioning operation of NGOs and civil society. The NGOs which are registered, around 10 to 15%, you can write within the bracket, which are providing, which are filing tax return to government, and which did tremendous work in the development of the society, should be allowed continue, should be supported to strengthen the welfare of downtrodden section of society. You can also highlight it here. Further, government should take judicial action in very precise manner by curbing all such NGOs, civil society, which are misusing foreign fund, which are supporting Naxal activities, Moist activity, terror activity, or blocking good project, maybe Kudankulam project, Narmada Dam, etc., whatever. Okay, for the development or rapid development of the country. So in that way, if you will justify, you will properly define. Means here you are also directing that what is the possible solution. We cannot immediately ban all such civil society NGOs because when government failed in those areas, in those region, for those section, when government failed, then it left some scope for the evolution, for the development of the NGOs or civil society to handle such matters out of government, outside the government. Because government is unable to take care about the sexual workers, government is unable to take care about certain labor forces, certain Naxal areas, tribal areas, etc. Government is unable to deliver effective services. That's why there is a scope for evolution, for development of these kind of organization, and they are doing effective, inspirable, admirable work. Shubham, I hope you have quite clarity.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Further, lot to discuss about body, about several points. Okay. Right from the perspective of an examiner. From the perspective of an examiner, what he is looking for, make the task as much as easy as possible for the examiner. Reduces his effort. Check the important aspect whether an examiner able to get by reading your answer copy, whether he receive adequate information, adequate idea, data, evidences that he was looking for. Each and every examiner, each and every evaluator have certain keywords, certain information. Suppose that within the interview, I think you can correlate smartly or better. Within the interview, if any person who is very ethical, who is very, believing religious kind of person, if a candidate give the reply by, adding some kind of religious flavor into it, then he might be very happy. So it depend on, what an interviewer is seeking, is looking, what kind of that person he is. Suppose that if he is asking any question about your background, about your technical education, about your work experience, anything, so in his mind, he is looking for something. If you provided that kind of information, then he will be satisfied. Even giving such information within one question and after that not replying for more than 2 3 questions sometimes doesn't matter, does not impact your performance, sometimes it doesn't hurt your performance. Similarly, when an examiner evaluator looking or evaluating your answers in such condition, he have certain pre kind of thoughts, ideas, information in his mind. If such kind of ideas, information, consider yourself as evaluator, then just notice a copy answer information written by a child, then you will be happy when whatever you are looking is present within that copy. Similarly, an examiner, if such kind of information, data, ideas present, then he can provide you more marks than you deserve, actually, than your answer deserve. Understand the psychology behind the question from which examiner is asking. Sometimes question, created, developed in random manner because an examiner need to develop at least 20 question for the mains question paper to keep a question paper ready. And sometimes they develop a few questions purposefully. Sometimes question have no relevancy with the logic, with the rationality, but sometimes some of the issues, especially those questions which are associated with the current topic, current events. Such topics are deliberately put by the examiner, by the professor to look, to take out what he is demanding, what he is looking for. If you are claiming, putting your own opinion, idea, you must mention adequate substances, evidences in that reference. A person who is just, beating around the bush, providing hollow ideas about, suppose that previous question. If a person is writing about the LEDs, just a hollow ideas, what is light emitting diode, okay, and a person who is precisely mentioning the year, how many year it led to research, what kind of impacted, what kind of sector it's impacted, how much is the growth, how much is the scope, okay, how much is finally impacted particular section, government, poor people, etc. If he is providing evidences, he is providing data, then he will fetch more marks in comparison to person who is just beating around the bush or writing goal information, round figure information. Body of your answer here, Shubham, for you especially. Body for your answer, what kind of information, what kind of ideas you should keep in your mind. Avoid to use large amount of round figure language. You need to write precisely. Round figure language only use when you don't have any kind of other option. It is last option, not the first. When you are just leaving, you don't have any idea, any information, then round figure, do not leave question unattended, because at least if it fetch 2 marks, then 2 marks may create differences in thousands of the students. Aspirants need to support his or her claim with optimum and adequate substances evidences. Now, I have highlighted several times, I have discussed opinion about substances, data, information, but what kind of data, what kind of information? So it depends on particular subject. Each and every subject has certain kind of data, information, substances, evidences. Suppose that political matter, if there is any question related to Indian polity or governance, etc. In such condition, if you are highlighting an article, suppose that if any question related to Election Commission of India, if you are mentioning as per constitutional provision of Indian Constitution Article 324, this have consisted the provision of having the election commission. In that way, if you are putting the information, means that will be more accurate. Suppose in 2021, there was, I think in later slide, there was a question related to legislative council. So if you will not mention article 169 with respect to legislative council, then your answer will not create such kind of impact as the person who has written a particular article, particular committee. Okay, suppose that if any question related to fundamental duties, if Sardar Swan Singh committee you are not mentioning, 42nd Amendment Act you are not mentioning. So might be possible that examiner may not be inspired. You are just giving the round figure information. Okay, so you can support relevant article of the constitution, sections. You can highlight it the verdict of the court. Whenever you have question associated with basic structure, you can highlight easily Golaknath versus State of Punjab case. You can easily highlight Keswanand Bharati case, Sajjan Singh case. Okay, different case associated with particular matter you can highlight. Then you will likely to fetch more mark than a person who is just providing a round figure. Answer on geography. Now practice. It is very important practice to draw a map, very sharply within 10 seconds, anything, whatever. Okay, whatever you have. So within 10 seconds, you can develop, you can draw map of India, map of the world, and there you can highlight. You can highlight the associated information. Associated information. Okay. So geographical map that will support you. Suppose that recently, if there is any question based on the climate change having the impact on the monsoon, then Indian Meteorological Organization already highlighted that this time, either some of the states are receiving very high rain or some of the states are not receiving the adequate rain. So calculation has become very complex. More satellites need to be increased. Maybe from 37 to more than 50 around. Okay, you can put such kind of information. You can put, suppose that you can draw India map, and within map, you can highlight within Indian map, you can highlight that this is UP having deficient rain, Rajasthan having surplus rain, this Northeast having surplus rain, Western Ghat now this time having surplus rain. If how much surplus rain, little bit highlight. Otherwise, you can just highlight that this place have surplus rain, this place have deficient rain. So don't you think that examiner will not be impressed? Don't you think that a person who is just writing answers that due to climate change uncertainty in the monsoon pattern, in the rainfall throughout India, sometimes there is huge rain, sometimes there is no rain, and sometimes there is unseasonal rain. So it has led to, disturb completely the mechanism of monsoon that has been defined within the geography. Means goal, round figure information if one person will provide, and another person, how many satellites need to be increased, further technology need to be in strength. Suppose that at present we need 10 petaflop computer, supercomputer, we need up to more than 30% or 30 petaflop kind of computer system, and so on, etc. If such person is, drawing the map, writing technological advances, writing definition of monsoon, writing or linking it with the seasonal rainfall or regional rainfall within different region, you can highlight just like Kerala, flood, कहाँ flood हुआ. कोई भी क्वेश्चन है फ्लड से, you can draw just map, you can highlight this Brahmaputra river, and here this Bihar region, especially this northeastern region, West Bengal region, this is comes under the flood. You can draw Kosi river, here it has impacted or flood within the Bihar, etc. Means, if question is related to geography, then you just draw the map roughly. you can draw the rivers, you can highlight certain points, certain events within history, within geography, within polity. Suppose that there is dispute between Ukraine, Russia, or maybe there is a dispute between Israel, Palestine. Just draw rough map and you highlighted this is the territory of Palestine, this is the territory of Israel, this is the disputed area. Then don't you think that if evaluator or examiner will not be inspired or admired by this kind of approach presentation of the student? So definitely a person who is not drawing any kind of the diagram, any kind of the figure, any kind of the map, or another student who is drawing all these things, who is writing precisely, who is presenting nicely, then there will be a definitely a difference between the person who is providing round figure and who is providing very precise figure. Now, answer on geography must have map, and you need to draw at least more than 100 maps, and such map can be drawn within the 10 to 20 seconds, not more than that. From the climatology, from Indian physical geography, you can pick up certain maps associated especially with those topics which are mentioned within the notification associated with mains examination especially. Okay. Answers on international matter. Answers on international matter can be supported with the international treaty, international agreement, covenant, conventions, recent report. If anything arises, then if such kind of report is mentioning, if there is any question related to Ukraine-Russia war, then you can highlight the decisions, some of the decisions of United Nations Security Council, etc. Okay, so that will further strengthen your answers. You will fetch more mark. So far, any question from your side? Anybody? Subham, in fundamental duties, there is only one article, 51A. There is no need to remember by heart all these fundamental duties. You need not to write all these articles. But if you are mentioning that within Constitution of India, under Part 4th A, Indira Gandhi government by 42nd Amendment Act in 1976, based on recommendation of Sardar Sand Singh Committee, added 10 fundamental duties which which are associated protection of the constitution, honoring its institution, flag, protecting sovereignty, protecting unity, integrity, environment, or providing education, etc. So in that way, means it depend on totally the question. In that way, if you will write the answer, then definitely it will attract the attention of the examiner. If all information is not get remembered, only write 4 most important point. Sardar Swan Singh Committee, 42nd Amendment Act in 1976, total 11 duty under Article 51A. Whatever you write, if this is mentioned, any question associated with fundamental duty will become attractive, will fetch more than average mark, will fetch in any way more than average mark. Just hope if you have qualified the prelims, means you have certain kind of the basic information. So rest on, you can roll. So you can round, give the other information. So prepare, whatever topic you are reading. I'm not suggesting large number of list because you are a human being, you are not a supercomputer. You cannot load huge information in your mind. Only 4 5 points from each and every important topic. At least maximum 10 to 15 points maximum. Or on any concept, on any topic, you need at least, you know, already ready to use kind of map, already ready to use kind of map, certain templates, certain quotes, certain articles, etc. If you are doing your preparation in that way, then definitely I don't think so. You need to too worry, too much worry. There is no need to worry about writing or achieving high score within the mains. And Indian polity topics, you, yes, especially articles, especially committees, especially uh, Supreme Court reports or Supreme Court, especially the verdicts. These are, substances that you can put in your answer. These are weight that will increase of your marks. All right, Subham. Avlasa Pawan Kumar, any query from your side? क्यों सारा बर्डन शुभम के ऊपर ही छोड़ दिए हो? Avlasa round figure language means you just pick up a few words and you are writing whatever you have information in your mind without giving any kind of the evidence, without giving exact precise information. If there is any question on the fundamental right, you are not mentioning any of the part of the constitution, any of the article, any of the verdict of the Supreme Court, and you are saying that fundamental rights are quite similar to the natural rights, and fundamental rights are very necessary for individual growth. Fundamental rights should be strengthened during the democracy, or fundamental right can create very good peace in the society. Fundamental rights are very much important rights for individual life. Fundamental rights have very large weightage within the constitution. They are very, very important for the country. Fundamental rights are very large, very bulky, very respectable, admirable within the constitution. Fundamental rights are very, very important. So this is round figure language, means any of the question, what it is asking about the question, what is the main crux of the question, you are not mentioning, you are not giving any kind of the evidences, you are not connecting it, linking it with any of the verdict of the court, and but just you are writing whatever you know about fundamental rights. So this is round figure language. Hope it is clear. Or please avoid repetitive language as well. Please avoid repetitive language as well, because it somewhere become less attractive. I don't think so. You will be very interested in reading those articles from the newspaper, from the books, in which same type of concept, type of information each and every time is repeating. Okay, so it is the same case for an examiner. Body of an answer, optimum flow. Optimum flow, sometimes students have misconception in their mind that flow doesn't matter in point format writing. whether you are writing within the point format, whether you are writing within the paragraph format, all are equally valid. Depend on what type of suitability you have, depend on what type of question it is, whether it is more suitable for the point format writing or whether it is more suitable for paragraph writing, or it depend on your convenience suitability. Suppose that you have very less time, especially most of the students face such kind of situation during last half an hour. So during last half an hour they rapidly try to complete the answers maybe within 2 or 3 minutes. They try to write up to 250 words within 2 and 3 minutes. Think what will be the situation within the final examination. So what they do, they write very, very important point. They draw one or two large figure to fill the space that is mentioned within the copy. Based on it, they fetch maybe 2, 3, 4 marks. 2 to 4 marks they receive. Okay, so it happened with the toppers, with others. Generally, a few questions, maybe after 15, most of the students face lack in the time management. Okay, good connectivity of every word, sentence is necessary. Grammar also matter within the point format writing, but its scope is not up to great extent as existed within the paragraph writing. Okay, good connectivity of every word means there should be a flow. The flow such kind of interesting flow. Once examiner, evaluator started reading your answer, then his attention completely absorbed by your answer. एक स्टोरी फॉर्मेट तैयार हो जाए, complete one kind of story. Okay, from the very beginning towards the end, maintain logical flow, conceptual clarity between every line. Although flow that we also uh, consider very important, or especially we can consider it associated with the coherence. Flow or coherence are quite synonyms. It is very, very great important in case of essay writing. It matters a lot, but it also matters within the mains answer writing. Avoid unnecessary, additional, less supportive information, and please do highlight of your keywords. If you are highlighting the keywords, means you are making easy task for the examiner. Examiner need not to read your answer from very beginning towards very end. He is very less interested in reading, evaluating your answer, because there is official compulsion, because it is his duty, it is his livelihood. So that's why he is evaluating. Otherwise, most of the examiner accept few very, you know, kind of joyous person or self-motivated or passionate person. Most of the examiner do not like. So if you are highlighting keywords by doing underline, by making them within the box, एक बॉक्स बना दिया और अंडरलाइन कर दिया, then it might be possible he doesn't need to read your complete answer, but just reading few underlined keywords, he can provide you complete marks, full marks. It might be possible. It happens in the test series sometimes. It also happen in the UPSC as well, where it is required, and avoid unnecessary underlining. Please try to hesitate, try to restrict yourself. If your answer is not very smart, if your answer is not up to the mark, So unnecessarily do not highlight less important word. Otherwise, it may also give wrong impression, negative impression over the examiner that you are highlighting a point which is very less relevant, which is at all not important. So do not highlight them. Only highlight, only underline those words which are very, very important. Further, most of the students do common error. Most of the students do these common error, and we have noticed in most of the answer copies that we have evaluated. And out of them, maximum scope or maximum time we have noticed spelling error. It creates irritation in the mind of the examiner, evaluator. That person is going to hold IS post, a civil servant post, unable to write properly, very easy spelling, he is doing the mistake. He cannot write correctly. Once, twice, a few times, it is okay, acceptable. It is expected from you guys that you or a person who is writing mains answer should not commit any single mistake, single error, but a few error can be possible. But again and again, very easy spellings or a few spelling of technical words. Each and every time, student is writing, then it get irritation. It create irritation in the mind of the examiner, or examiner may like you that even you cannot write a spelling. You cannot write grammatically. Although within point format writing, the scope of grammar is less, but we cannot say grammar doesn't matter within the point format writing. Grammar importance, you should not focus too much attention, too much emphasis over the grammar, but generally, wherever it is possible, try to maintain it. That you write grammatically correct as well. Punctuation. Suppose that simple sentence without any kind of the question mark, without any kind of such kind of introductory word, you are putting question mark unnecessarily. Suppose that any state of point you are not mentioning it. You are leaving without the points, without full stop, without comma, without semicolon, etc. So wherever sometimes their use is useless, no value at all. But sometimes they have great value. Sometimes they create, they complete change the meaning, they complete change the sentences. Abrupt starting, abrupt ending. Please avoid it. Smooth starting, smooth ending. Means from the very beginning without providing 2, 3, 4 line as your introduction, you started from the very beginning in the point format and you are similarly writing towards end. Okay, or in the end, you are further leaving a scope for arising another question. You are writing the last line, which itself generating a new debate, new argument, new discussion. So it should not be happen. Poor handwriting, pay off. Handwriting is important. Illegible handwriting is good. You don't need to worry about very beautiful handwriting or uh, average handwriting. But your handwriting should be at least illegible, at least legible, so that person or examiner who can understand it, who can read it. Doctor's kind of handwriting is not acceptable within the UPSC. if you will write, then in those questions in which you don't have the information, then it may provide you average mark. Otherwise, in those questions in which you put lot of information, you write excellently, but examiner is unable to read it, then there is no purpose. Either he may provide by general understanding average marks to you or poor marks. You cannot receive in any condition excellent mark. You will receive at least around average mark or the poor marks. Then extra decoration, beautification is, you know, beautify, decorate up to an extent. Although double use pen is not acceptable or not used within the UPSC, only single pen, either blue or black, you can use it. But do not make it extra decorative. Otherwise, it further create wrong impression that this person is, believe in overshowing something, an over decoration of something. All right, guys. Any query from your side? Shubham कह रहे हैं, how can you write conclusion from the introduction? Not necessary. Shubham, you should not try to write conclusion from the introduction. Each and every subject, each and every topic, each and every question have a specific demand. Suppose that within the history, what is the conclusion? Generally the future history or especially the present history. Suppose that if question is associated with the past, means ancient history, then your conclusion should be towards medieval history. If question belongs to medieval history, then your conclusion should be, your way forward should be towards modern history. If question is modern history, then your way forward should be towards the present. For polity, way forward are certain committees, certain investigations, certain commissions, certain reports, certain policies, certain kind of ideas or certain kind of the recommendation, especially the recommendation of the committees. Suppose that अगर सेंटर स्टेट का कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ जाता है सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशन का और एनी कोई भी अदर क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, then you highlighted सरकारी या कमीशन रिपोर्ट रिकमेंडेशन जो उन्होंने दी है, it will be your way forward. पंची कमीशन रिपोर्ट, it will be your way forward. In case of geography, your way forward may be solution of the problem. अगर फ्लड है या क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है और anything is happening, where your conclusion might be the solution. If question arising is associated with the problems, then you must not leave by highlighting the problems only. Although in the question, if question is not asking you to provide the solution, still within the conclusion, you are expected to provide certain kind of the resolutions, your own creative ideas to bring out towards a solution. Okay, in economics, your way forward generally current different kind of government scheme, international organization initiatives, or different kind of need of the hour. Okay, in that way means each and every topic, each and every question, each and every subject have different kind of expectation within your conclusion. So I don't think so anybody have guided you about you should drive conclusion from the introduction. There is no requirement at all to drive conclusion from the introduction or body. And conclusion is maybe way forward, conclusion may be summary, conclusion may be solution, but it is not a precise summary. It is not what you have already discussed within the question, within the answer, what you have already written within the introduction. All right, Subham. I hope about conclusion quite clear. Is this okay? Subham, is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, guys. Now presentation. We have generally two part. We have generally two part of fetching good marks. One is presentation, another is content part. But content part itself also included how you are presenting the content. How you are presenting the content. Same content may fetch more mark, same content may fetch less mark. It depends on your presenting skills. If you have certain innovative methods, you have certain innovative ideas, you are linking something, maybe your Ramayana Mahabharata story, maybe ancient India story, maybe current stories, with different kind of the concept, with different kind of the topics, as mentioned within the question, in very innovative way. Okay, so in such way, if you are presenting, then it will attract more marks. So it is, I think, needless debate. You should not confuse about this debate. If anybody say that uh, I become topper because of point format writing, so do not believe it. Acknowledge whatever is your strength. You may have point format writing, may have paragraph format of writing. Both are suitable, both are equally valid, but particular question may depend on point format suitability or paragraph. Suppose that ethical question are more associated with ethics and integrity question, more associated with paragraph writing, especially some philosophical type of the uh, questions. Or especially whenever you have distinguished feature, whenever there is a question with respect to differentiate, then it is more likely to have better presentation in the point format. Draw line in the middle of your page and just write precise point 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Then definitely you will fetch better marks in comparison to other students. Diagram, Venn diagram, tree diagram. Suppose that any kind of question, a few years back, I noticed that question was jobless growth. Jobless growth. Is India achieving or has achieved jobless growth during recent time period? Why India's growth is called as jobless growth? Suppose that question is jobless growth, but you are making a tree diagram. You are making, suppose that you are making a tree diagram. आपने एक ट्री डायग्राम जल्दी से डेवलप कर लिया, and here you are low hanging fruits, suppose that apple you are, or whatever, banana you are making. Okay, here you can also put, and here you can show here that यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, that is economic growth. That is economic growth. Okay. Now I think it is quite understandable that it is seems to be a tree, and here are fruits. So low hanging fruits. Okay. For poor. for downtrodden. Although downtrodden may also include poor, for women, for children. So here you are noticing that when a growth is received by most vulnerable section of society, downtrodden section of society, children, women, poor, SC, ST, etc., they all are receiving the fruits of economic growth. Means when development, when rise in the income of the nation is also experience analyzed by the poor person, then it is inclusive growth. Here you can say inclusive growth, etc., etc. So if suppose that you have connected a natural tree, fruits with economic growth, with the poor section of society. So here examiner will say, wow, yeah, you are really innovative person. Okay, so he will be inspired and it will attract more marks. Suppose that there is any question related to check and balance with respect to different organs of the government, then you can draw a diagram just like here. Suppose that judiciary. Suppose we have three organs, especially legislative. Here, suppose executive. Now you can highlight check and balance. Here you can write check or check and balance, check and balance, check and balance. So here, if there is any question related to check and balance, related to different organs of the government, constitutional framework, while framing, especially our Constituent Assembly, while framing the Constitution of India, if you are writing, suppose that any question related to different organs of the government, or within the introduction, you are mentioning that our constitutional framework, while framing the Constitution of India, on one hand, they establish parliament, legislature, and executives to develop policies based on aspirations, goals of the people. On other hand, similarly, on other hand, they also establish a judicial institutions to keep check over the legislative and executive actions. Further, parliament can also have check over the executives, and executive can also have check over the judiciary and legislative as well. So in that way, if you are writing your introduction and further you are representing this diagram, okay, it will look very beautiful if you use two color pen, although generally one color pen is more suitable or preferably used by aspirant within the UPSC. Then it will become very attractive and you will fetch very excellent mark. Okay, so utilize your innovation, draw certain easy cartoons, draw certain easy diagrams, tree diagram, Venn diagram, or utilize different concept. Okay. So if you are utilizing them, then definitely you will be ahead of other students. Now, suitable daily use pen. Sometimes, a student, we oftenly notice during 12th, during graduation, okay, or during post-graduation or anything, that during examination, a student purchase very expensive pen so that their writing will be smarter than their previous writing that they generally use and daily answer writing or writing any paper in daily use. So please use most of the time whatever pen you are used to, whatever pen you are very much habitual, and do not carry a very fresh pen within the examination. At least use it for few pages, for few words, maybe around 100 words before using it in the final examination. It may create little bit impact. It may create, overall out of 20 question, it may save 5 minutes. If suppose that due to pen, 5 minutes is protected, it means you can fetch 5 marks more at least. Or within 5 minutes, you can attempt another 15 marks question as well. Or in certain optional, 20 mark question as well. Okay, so sometimes very, very small point, negligible point become important. So any query before I proceed? This is our last, exercise. Tail-ended or the directive words. Generally, sometimes a student get confused whether they should know what is the meaning of examine, evaluate, illustrate, discuss, okay, describe, etc. Whether they should precisely follow it in all the conditions, or they can be neglected while writing the main answers. How much they are important? Some of the students, some of the analyzer, or some of the speaker highlight them as very, very important, while some of they say that just you need to write few positive point, few negative point in most of the answer. These kind of word doesn't matter. So what do you think? How much importance they have? How much importance they have? Or what should be the strategy to tackle, to use these tailender or directive words? Suppose that it become very difficult to memorize meaning of each and every tail-ended words. Although these important tail-ender words are not very high in quantity, around 20 to 25 max to max, generally used by UPSC. Out of them, maximum use we noticed within 2021 examination around 10 times or more than that, word explain as directive word was used within the question. Further, similar to it, discuss was more equally important in 2021 examination. Rest other words were less frequently repetitive in nature. Explain and discuss were more repetitive in nature with respect to other tail-ended or directive words. So there is no need to panic about tail-ender or directive words. Knowing them, very good, excellent. Don't knowing them, it's okay. Cannot, have a fear in your mind. But sometimes these tail-ender words deliberately put by a professor, by an examiner, while on other time they generally use this word so that each and every question should not be look like similar, and people have the opinion about repetitive information, or just like having impression that UPSC is very less creative, not a creative institution. So sometimes they deliberately look the synonyms, they deliberately use certain other words so that people have the feeling that professors or UPSC paper setters have innovative kind of mind or utilizing each and every time certain innovative such kind of tailender or directive words. Okay, so sometimes they are very important, sometimes they are not important at all. So if you are knowing them, excellent. If you are not knowing them, not need to worry. But I will suggest you while writing the mains answer, print out two paper or write down 2 pages key meaning of these tailender words. And whenever you are writing the answer, before writing the answer, just go through the tailender word, directive words. And after that, by reading the meaning, by analyzing that what is the exact demand of the question, what is all about tailender word or directive word, after that you start your writing. I hope if 3-4 months you will do it, you will be used to it. Then you don't need 2 papers in your at your table. Then whatever question, whenever you will have the word examine, then you will say that it is looking for more simplification, more clarity, more interpretation, more easy understanding. Means क्वेश्चन की जो डिमांड है, द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन इज एग्जामिनर सेइंग और डायरेक्टिंग, क्वेश्चन इज डायरेक्टिंग, प्लीज क्लियर द कंफ्यूजन, please provide in simplest way, in easier way, the solution or the concern that highlighted within the question. So whenever you have word explain, it means provide clarity. Provide clarity, simplify it. Simplify the complex matter, complex information given in the question paper. Make it easy, understandable, provide more details, and substantiate wherever it is required. Substantiate, support relevant fact associated with it. Okay, and give reason to justify the event. Give reason to justify the event. Explain meaning is clear. Just you need to simplify, clarify, and provide little bit fact associated with it so that they can increase the weight of it. Clarify, simplify. That is meaning of the explain. Now, here, this question is, it may be explained or maybe with certain kind of adjectives, certain kind of adverb, certain kind of extra additional words. Okay, in first question, we are noticing that explain the constitutional provision under which legislative council are established. Explain the constitutional provision under which legislative council within the state get established. Review the working and the current status of legislative council with suitable illustration. So here one directive word explain, little bit another directive word review, another directive words illustration. So you need to clarify, you need to simplify. Here within the introduction, because it is asking the constitutional provision, if you will not mention as per Article 169 of the Constitution, Parliament of India can create or abolish the Legislative Council with a simple majority. If you are not mentioning it within the very beginning or introduction, then I don't think so you are fulfilling the demand of the question. If you are mentioning this article, you are mentioning that Parliament can create or abolish with the simple majority. By reading it, examiner will understand that you have exact, precise knowledge that what is the demand of the question. Further, you can highlight just like role of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, although within the state, the legislative council role is very, very poor. But you can highlight that it is kind of double check over the policies passed by lower house within the state. Here, more representation, more person or intellectuals can be nominated to the house, or here there is wide representation of teachers, graduate. Okay, members are also elected with the proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Okay, so in that way you will highlight the importance of legislative council. Somewhere it have double check over the law passed by lower house, plus it have double check or certain kind of pressure over the lower house or the executives. Here policies can be scrutinized in the detail, and opinion of legislative council also carry a weight, also carry the weight. So rejecting the opinion, logical, reasonable opinion made by legislative council may be challenging within the court, within the public opinion. Further, you can review the working of current status of legislative council. So here you need to review if you have good knowledge about all the six states, around six states, which have legislative council. You can highlight it. You can highlight it their status. You can further say that most of the time, these are just an advisory body. Their opinion does not matter. Finally, lower house in most of the or almost in all or near about all the circumstances has large the weightage, or it can be easily abolished, it can be easily create when state assembly is passing resolution with the special majority. Parliament can create it, destroy it at any point of time with the simple majority. So the weightage, it is a kind of extra burden, extra expenditure over the state resources, etc., etc. In that way, you can highlight. Or the meaning of illustration is very much similar. The meaning of illustration is very much similar to the meaning of explain. Meaning of explain. All right, guys. Shubham, are you facing lack of time? Ablasa, I also want your opinion as well. Class is going too lengthy. Okay, so I will rapidly, almost I have completed most of the point with respect to mains strategy, how you should approach towards answer writing the mains. Further, you can read all these, tailender or directive words by yourself, and you can use them while writing the mains answer, but do not take them very, very seriously. Okay, so illustration is quite similar. What are the illustration is quite similar. Okay, so illustration is quite similar to the explain. So I think you can read all these calendar words and you can utilize them. If there is any query from your side, most welcome. Otherwise, we are ending our session here. Okay. So there is no great things to further explain. Only these tail-ended words I have already written the meaning of these words, which are very, very important. Okay. So you can read them and you can utilize them. If there is any query from your side, most welcome. Else, I am ending my discussion here. So, whether to discuss or not to discuss all these tail-ended words doesn't matter a lot. I have covered most of the point associated with mains answer writing. All right, Avlasa, Subham. If any query, most welcome. Please raise. Welcome, Subham and Avlasa. I hope you will get little bit advantage after this discussion. Welcome, guys. See you if in future